Hello, boys and girls. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, and today we're going to read a book called Big Al by Andrew Clement Yoshi. We've been reading books all about celebrating differences. If you look at this book, what do you see on the cover? What do you notice about Big Al? What looks different about him? The little fish are noticing that Big Al looks different than them. Let's see how the other fish treat Big Al because he looks different. All right, here we go. Here's the first page. Big Al. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Al. You could not find a nicer fish. There he is. Big Al. But Big Al is also very scary. Ah! Why do you think he looks scary? Other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many. Big Al had none. He did not really blame the other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like his? So Big Al was lonely and cried big salty tears into a big salty sea. There he is, all sad. Why do you think they don't want to be his friend? Do you think they should have maybe given him a chance? Maybe said, hey, do you like to play? Do you want to eat some spaghetti with me? Maybe they have things that they like that are the same. Shouldn't always judge a book by its cover, huh? That's the book by its cover. But Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First, he tried wrapping himself up with seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise, but no one else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant that has big, sharp teeth? Here he is covered in seaweed. And that plan didn't work so well. What's Big Al's problem? Can you think of the problem in the story so far? How do you think he's going to solve his problem? So we know his first solution was try to disguise himself in seaweed, but that doesn't seem to be working. So I wonder what he's going to do next. Then he thought that if he puffed himself up round, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he could be. All he saw was how big he could be, and they steered clear. Here he is. Big Al. And that didn't work. They ran away from him. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom and flopped and wiggled himself into the sand until it was almost covered up. He looked much smaller. When other fish came by, Big Al talked and joked with them and had a delightful time. But then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills and he sneezed. When the clouds of sand cleared away, all the other fish were gone. So it worked until he sneezed. Poor Big Al. Big Al even changed his color one day so he could look like he belonged to a school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was just one of the crowd. But he was so big and clumsy that when all the tiny fish started to the left and then quickly back to the right, Big Al just plowed straight ahead. He went bumping and thumping right into the little fish. Before he could even say, excuse me, they were gone, and he was all alone again. Sadder than ever. Just when Big Al was starting to be sure that he would never have a single friend, something happened. I'm going to show you the picture first. This is what happened. It says, he was floating along, sadly watching some of the smaller fish and was wishing they would come closer. As he watched, a net drop down silently from above. In an instant, they were all caught. Oh no. What do you think Big Al should do to help the fish? Big Al forgot all about being lonely. And he forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever. And with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and charged straight at the nets. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and now the little fish rushed out through the hole. Wow! What did he do? Think they're gonna like him now? He helped save them. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go out of the hole, he got all tangled up in the net instead. Uh-oh. You think they're gonna help him now? The net went higher and higher towards the bright surface of the sea, and the little fish watched Big Al as he disappeared above them. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was a huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great to be free, but what a shame that the big fellow had been captured. Just then there was a tremendous crashing splash above them, and the small fish darted away. Was it the net again? Not at all, it was Big Al. Those fishermen took one look at him and threw him right back in the ocean. So the little fish didn't save him, but instead the fishermen said, "Meh, we don't want you." What do you think the little fish are going to do now that he's safe, now that he's back in the water? And now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else. It's Big Al. Now they're friends with him after all. Why are they friends with him now? They weren't friends with him at the beginning. Aw, the end. What have the little fish learned about Big Al? The story's setting is the ocean. What do the details in the book's words and illustrations tell you about the ocean? Can you tell me some things about the ocean? What does Big Al do to try to make himself less scary to the other fish? Remember, he did a couple things to make himself seem less scary. Sometimes the feelings of characters change during a story. How does Big Al feel at the beginning of the story? Do you remember? And then how does he feel at the end? What lessons does the author want you to learn from reading the story? I'll tell you. You should pick your friends by the way they act, not by how they look. And don't change the way you are just so others will like you. If you don't get what you want at first, keep trying. Keep trying. I like this book about Big Al. Did you? So now we read It's Okay to Be Different, Story of Ferdinand, Leo the Late Bloomer, The Cow That Went Oink, and Big Al. If you could think about those 5 books. I don't have them all with me, but here's a picture of the 5 of them. And tell me which one you like the best. And tell me your favorite part of this book. All right, thanks for listening. I really like this story. Did you? Bye-bye.